Hello, my name is Anna Nay, and this is my presentation on the models of early childhood education. The Montessori method was developed by Dr. Maria Montessori in the early 20th century. She was an Italian physician, educator, and innovator who focused on the way children learn naturally. The Montessori method is based on hands-on activities for students. This encourages students to learn independently. Montessori is self-paced learning, but led by the teacher. By teaching with this model, students learn independence by learning at their own pace. They need to understand each concept and meet individualized learning goals. Each child has a different learning process. That is why the Montessori method is important, because it allows students to concentrate at their own pace. In a Montessori classroom, teachers respect each child's unique way of learning. Every child is different, and they all have their own strengths, challenges, and interests. Teachers give children the freedom to learn at their own pace without rushing or pressuring them. This approach helps children build confidence in their abilities and encourages them to enjoy the learning process. Educating the child is focused on providing the learning experience the child needs. The goal is to support a child's intellectual, physical, emotional, and social development. Learning is designed to help children grow into independent thinkers, problem solvers, and compassionate individuals. By creating a well-rounded learning experience, Montessori education helps children develop skills they will need for life, not just for school. One-on-one learning. Every child learns differently, and Montessori educators recognize this by tailoring lessons to each student's needs and interest. Teachers closely observe children to see how they are progressing or where they may need extra help. Since children learn at their own pace, this approach helps them develop self-discipline. When children feel supported in their learning journey, they become more focused and take pride in their work. Dr. Maria Montessori discovered that children learn best when they can choose their way of learning and when they can learn at their own pace. In a Montessori-based atmosphere, children feel a sense of freedom when they learn. They get to choose their preferred learning environment through the arranged classroom. When children enjoy what they learn and see positive results, they become more motivated. Montessori education encourages hands-on learning where children can touch, explore, and work with materials rather than just listening to lectures. This hands-on approach makes learning more engaging and rewarding. When children successfully complete a lesson or master a skill, they feel a deep sense of satisfaction and confidence, which inspires them to keep learning. The pros and cons of the Montessori method. The atmosphere of the Montessori method is kid-friendly. By including hands-on activities for children to work with it, allows them to understand the curriculum through objects. The atmosphere allows students to work freely and at their own desired pace. It gives students a chance to improve concentration and coordination skills. Social interaction. Kids often look up to and follow other kids. The Montessori method allows for children to learn in groups of different ages. Communicating using different age groups improves skills for students' future lives. By developing social interaction with older-aged children, they improve communication skills. Not only do students learn materials, but they also gain social interaction skills, such as responsibility, independence, fairness, adaptability, and positivity. The cons. It's expensive. The Montessori-based schools are expensive because the classes are long and have learning materials that are of greater quality than most. Teachers must have special training, and most schools are private. Smaller population. Some students are great with small groups, whereas others may need a classroom with more social interaction. In a Montessori classroom, the groups are smaller, which could lead to limited social interaction. This could also affect students who need additional support from teachers. That is if they struggle with the self-directed learning technique. The high-scope method. The high-scope method of teaching focuses on children learning through an active learning style. It was created by the Perry Preschool Project. The routine of the high-scope classroom is usually a consistent routine that happens daily. Children have a choice in this method, including who they play with and what activity they want to become involved in, based on their interests and habits. By doing this, children create a problem-solving mind to become knowledgeable adults. Teachers often set up indoor and outdoor areas to build knowledge for students. The environment includes open-ended play, stimulating materials that are designed for specific types of movement and play. Consistent daily routines. In a high-scope classroom, students follow a predictable daily routine, which provides structure and stability. This routine includes both group activities and independent learning. Children also take part in simple chores such as cleaning up after themselves, which can help develop important self-care and responsibility skill. A key part of the daily routine is the plan-do-review process. This allows children to make choices about what activities they want to do, carry out their plans, and then reflect on what they learned. By making their own decisions and talking about their experiences, children strengthen their problem-solving and decision-making skills. Hands-on learning experiences. The high-scope approach emphasizes active hands-on learning. Children learn best when they can explore and interact with materials directly. Some children understand concepts more easily when they can see and physically engage with them, rather than just listening to instructions. By allowing children to use their senses and experience with materials, high scope ensures that learning is meaningful and engaging for all types of learners. In a high scope classroom, students build strong relationships with both their peers and teachers. Social interaction is encouraged, helping children develop communication and teamwork skills. Educators take on the role of learning partners rather than just instructors. Instead of giving direct commands, they guide and support children in their learning process. This approach helps children become more confident, independent thinkers, while still feeling supported by the adults around them. The pros and cons of the high scope method. Encouraging to students. Encouraging to students to learn mostly on their own, to create problem solving, and to develop decision-making techniques. Multiple learning styles can benefit from using the high scope approach. Students learn independence. Students learn independence and learn from their past achievements when learning by this method. The cons. Time-consuming for educators to learn this method. Staff, such as educators, require special training. This could require a lot of time and commitment. Some children learn differently and need more assistance from educators when learning. The educator does not give specific instructions to students, so this could negatively affect some. The Reggio Emilia. The Reggio Emilia approach is effective for infants, toddlers, and young children. The method is based on independent play through learning and socio-culture learning. Students learning this way benefit through self-guided and adult-led learning. It is a project-based approach. The educator guides students to begin, and they continue to discover and learn naturally. The key principles of the model include collaboration. As the teacher plans the lesson for students, it is still a flexible lesson to accommodate each child's preferred learning process. Students form a bond with other students and their educators. This is important to create a supportive and collaborative learning environment where students feel valued and engaged. The age groups. Children involved in the classroom are of the same age. The pros and cons. Collaboration is taught throughout this learning method. Children are interactive with each other when completing projects and lessons. Students are encouraged to be creative and learn in a style that benefits their own learning process. By doing so, this promotes problem-solving skills for students. Each child can show their own uniqueness through the Reggio Emilia method. The cons. As an educator, you do not make specific lesson plans due to the unknown of the child's interest. By using the Reggio Emilia method, you make plans around the student's interest, which can be challenging but rewarding at the same time. Keeping track of the child's progress. With no set curriculum, it can be difficult for educators to track a child's progress because there are no standardized tests. Children who need a structured environment. This method would not be ideal for children who need more of a structured environment for learning. The project approach method. A project approach in education is a form of teaching where the students learn through an in-depth exploration of a topic. John Dewey, an American philosopher, who believes students should be taught through hands-on activity, which improves socialization and problem-solving skills. A teacher would encourage students and assist students to improve their learning ability. The interaction of the teacher with the student would be supportive and encouraging to the learners. The teacher would help the students to investigate different ways of learning to best fit their needs. Students investigate real-world topics instead of working through workbooks or lectures. Students are encouraged to research materials using books, magazines, newspapers, music, and websites. Being hands-on with projects fulfills students' interest of learning by doing. Teachers guide and support them, but children take on an active role in learning. This method helps kids develop problem-solving, teamwork, and critical thinking skills while making learning more engaging and meaningful. The key principles of this approach. Learning by doing. Students are encouraged to learn by completing hands-on activities to explore topics. Decision-making. Students will make their own decisions based on their preferred learning preference. The lessons are based on the child's interest in learning. Students work together to share ideas and complete assignments to achieve the learning objective. The pros and the cons. Learning by doing. This method ensures students become involved in learning by actively exploring hands-on topics. Learning responsibilities. The educator guides the students, but the classroom activities are led and carried out by the students themselves. This improves the students' self-reliance and self-responsibility. It helps students learn on their own and develop their own learning style. It improves communication skills. By using the project approach method, students are able to improve their communication skills because they are free to express themselves and with their educators and other peers. The cons. It's time-consuming. By teaching the project method, it can be very time-consuming. As you can imagine, there is a lot of time that goes into projects. This all depends on the pace the student completes the project and if they understand the subject being taught. Lack of educators. Teaching the project method requires educators with several years of experience. This results in the shortage of educators for this teaching method. Group work. Group work sounds great when every student participates. Some students can become lazy and depend on the group to do the activity alone. This is when the teacher has to make directions clear to students to ensure this does not happen. The teacher should have a direct instructions on who does what part of the project. This ensures that each student gets graded on something, and the teacher can pinpoint who isn't doing their work. To conclude my presentation, I find the Montessori method the most effective in early childhood education. The method allows students to learn at their own pace and to take their time. They are allowed to be independent and learn in the way they feel most comfortable. I acknowledge that each child has a unique way of learning, and they all are different from each other. With each student's learning process being different, the Montessori method allows students to concentrate at their own pace. It is shown that students benefit from learning in ways that interest them. When the students are completing an assignment that is interesting to them, they are more likely to retain knowledge from the activity. By having classrooms with different age groups, younger kids tend to learn from the older kids. Having multiple age groups in a classroom means that the teacher is the same for some years. This allows students to become comfortable, and it improves their learning when they are familiar with the environment. The Montessori method uses hands-on activities to develop problem-solving skills and to understand the curriculum through objects. It helps students improve concentration and coordination skills.